That crypto wallet, that bing bada bing ching ching big profit. Even when the market's sideways, I'm looking for ways to get paid. I'm checking my coins around breakfast, then again around bedtime. Bet this, it's not financial advice, but I'm always right. I'm always right.
What is going on, Believers? Guys, my name is Bleaves. This is Bedtime with Bleaves. If you have not already, go to my Twitter. That's at Bleaves Crypto. If you are interested in trying to win $100 in ETH, which I am giving away, if you will, follow me, tag 3 of your friends, and then share the video that I posted. I think that's the third one, something like that. But I hope everybody's having a good evening. Well, this market is starting to get real tough right now, and I don't think that we're going to get the pump that we got. You know, it looked for a little while like we might be getting some sort of pity pump, but as soon as Monday got here and as soon as the United States of America market opened up, they took a giant shit all over everything crypto related, and here we are. Now, the worst part of this all, the worst part was that it wasn't a dump. They didn't just take a dump. They just slowly but surely bled it for profit. And that's the worst part, because you know that this market has to decline a little bit more. Let's take a look here. You can see this is 3-minute candles, by the way, and you can see that now that we're in the Asian markets, we're starting to see a little bit of pump. But as has been the case for the last little while, that is probably going to just get devoured and eaten up by the American markets, which, as you can see here today, starting at the American market wake and bake area of the day, it didn't do anything but just decline and bust through support lines and do everything that American markets used to not do, while at the same time leaving the Dow only down 62 points. So then you look at the pre-market and you think, well, maybe it's the pre-market. Well, the pre-market is up to the to the previous day. So it's a very complicated sort of scenario here, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense unless, and I don't have it turned on, but could be a coordinated attack of people trying to accumulate a little bit more, knowing, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense if a dip is truly coming. So it's a little odd to say that that's the case, but you see here from the market, we're trading at $978 billion right now, $75 billion worth of volume. It's not a horrible amount of volume for a day. As the day progressed, it did get a little bit lower and a little bit lower and a little bit lower, but you kind of look overall here and you see like the biggest decline for Ethereum is in the last hour, down 0.7%. Let me refresh that there. Down 0.7%, 1.9 on the day. So, and you see a lot of red in the water right now. Just looks like this whole market is ready for another capitulation, which is going to be difficult, by the way. It's going to be difficult because we're already at 20,788, and it's very difficult to say that we're in a capitulation mode with the market trading $75 billion in a day. That usually would signify at least a $1.3 to $1.6 trillion market. So that seems like it's a lot of outflow and a lot of moving into stable. But when we start to gauge and look at the news, then we're not really seeing the same thing that everybody else is seeing. So largest Bitcoin whale buys 2,554 Bitcoin. This person is the third largest Bitcoin whale on the planet after Binance and Bitfinex. So, and this is an individual, by the way. At least we think it's an individual. Nobody knows who it is at this point. But post 13 June, 15% dip. Bitcoin has mostly been consolidating. Initially, it kept revolving in the 20 to 22,000 bracket. While after that, it dunked lower into the 19 to 21,000 range. On a couple of days, it did form wicks that extended as deep as 17.6. However, it managed to keep its boat afloat on most other days. That said, range has acted as an attractive accumulation zone. The world's largest non-exchange whale, for instance, carried forth a host of massive transactions in the afore highlighted period, bringing up its aggregate balance to $2.8 billion. So there's a whale out there that has $2.8 billion in Bitcoin right now. Per data from the BitInfo charts, the participant's address added more than 2,500 Bitcoin, 2,554 to be precise, since mid-June. Its biggest purchase of 565 Bitcoin was made on 23 June at 19,900. On other days, the transactional volume oscillated between 36 Bitcoin to 488 Bitcoin. Notably, in terms of overall ranking, this whale ranks third, only behind the exchange wallets of Binance and Bitfinex. Alongside, it should be noted that Bitcoin has a significant immediate support. As per ITB's data, in the band extending to the 15 to 20,000, over 1.55 million addresses have bought approximately 900,000 Bitcoin. All these participants are in the money or in profits, making it good support to rely on. And in fact, the number, this is not included in this, but I did learn this today. The number of whales, I shouldn't say whales, the number of wallets that have added at least one Bitcoin in the last 30 days is 13,091, which means that 13,091 people, individual people, now own one Bitcoin that did not own one Bitcoin last month. That's an accumulation at the retail level. That's an accumulation at the whale level and basically the institutional level, but we're not seeing it resulting in price action. So what is that? And what do you make of that? It's very tough to read unless you just have to lend yourself to, this is just some artificial manipulation to keep it down. Now, sentiment being what it is, the markets are down. There is, blood in the water, so to speak. There are a lot of people who are very nervous about the markets. And where do you shed your assets first? You shed the highest risk assets. And if you start at the stock market, you start at bonds, which are probably the safest return, safest yield. And you go into gold and some of those. Then you go into the stock market. Then you move down the line to cryptocurrencies. So, as an asset area goes, this is probably the lower rung on that totem, so to speak, of places where you want to hold on. So the people are kind of getting out. They will come back, but for right now, they're kind of getting out. Now, there are a few things that have been happening here that might change things. First, Bitcoin, crypto, and the stock market on the verge of collapse, says analysts. Now, this guy is saying that the entire markets are just ready to absolutely collapse. Now, I have been following this guy. When I started reading this article, I said, sure, let's look at this. Let's get some analysis and see what this guy's talking about and see if this guy's got anything to it, right? Well, this guy, Justin Bennett, took to Twitter, calling the recent crypto breakout a fake out and predicted that it could not hold much longer. He's right. Everything is either breaking support or looks ready to. Total global market cap with a small fake out above 940. Now way on channel support. I doubt this holds much longer, which seems like a fair estimate. I would think that he's I don't think that he's wrong in that assessment at this point. We can see right here, it doesn't look that way. So then, as I go down, he's really talking about this thing dipping all the way down. So it sounds really bad when I start reading what it is that he's saying. So then I started thinking about, like, wait a minute, let me go back here because I remember this guy from somewhere. This guy told me over a year ago, because it was March of 2021. That's not it. He told me that it was imperative that I accumulate VeChain because it's going to go crazy, and that he was fortunate enough to accumulate it and was able to sell it at 7 cents and said that it's just getting started. So here we are over a year later, and it's trading at 2 cents. So when this guy tells me that he knows what he's talking about in crypto, I don't think that that's accurate. I think that maybe this guy doesn't know shit. And he's just like the rest of us. He's just making a guess based upon the information that's in front of him. And it may or may not do something. So I don't know. I don't think that he's the wise and sage individual that anybody thought he was. And we are seeing, by the way, a little sideways action on Bitcoin right now as the Chinese market opens up. We saw a green candle and we got a buy signal here. This is on the 1 hour chart. It's been moving a little bit sideways right now on the red, and the 15-minute has been on a sell for a little while, but that's been sideways action. And then the 3-minute has been kind of the same thing. We got a buy signal here, but we got a sell. There was a steep sell real quick. Then it started moving again. 4 hours on a sell, but it's been on a sell for a day now. So, there's a lot of negativity, but there's also some positive sentiment. I mean, it's nothing for all of this to just start running. It would be nothing to just start to see this thing take off and have a nice little run. By the way, I'm still in here at 1221. I'm down probably $600 right about now. So I'm going to hold on a little bit longer, see if it doesn't change. If not, then maybe I'll pull out, reposition myself. With dips coming down here in the 10s and probably a much bigger dip coming, it's probably going to be easy for me to move into a bigger dip territory and accumulate a little bit more down this way instead of sitting here and waiting it out right now. Now, full disclosure, I did get in this. I got in here at 1221, right about here. And I was thinking it was going to go up, and it did go up, and it did go up again. And then overnight, the next night, it did go up again, all the way up to 1270. I was asleep, however, at 6 a.m. So by the time I woke up, it was down to 1252. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to let it ride. I let it ride for another hour, which took it down below where I wanted it to be. Then it went back up 1247. Around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. I was not available at that time, so I wasn't able to do anything with it. So I just considered, by the way, the reason for that is because my phone no longer uses Uniswap for whatever reason, because I'm using a Coinbase wallet for the transactions. And so I'm not able to buy and sell off of that. So I have to use my laptop for the moment. I'm sure it'll change at some point. It just hasn't yet. So that's why I haven't made any moves. So now, waiting to see if maybe there's some sort of move back to the upside before another capitulation. Now, I do think that we're going to have another capitulation. It's going to start moving down, and we're probably we're going to be in trouble. But let's talk about one more different article here. This is important here. Only Bitcoin can be called a commodity, says U.S. SEC Chair Gary Gensler. Now, Goldman Gary, as you may know, is the Squawk Box. He's leader of the SEC in the Squawk Box. Oh my God, there's CNBC has a thing called Squawk Box. Are you shitting me? All right, he's the mouthpiece. Let's call him the mouthpiece. I can't believe they're using the same. I was trying to come up with the same funny ass thing, and they've got a show called Squawk Box. All right, so he's the mouthpiece. He's the it's delicious, Daddy. For Goldman Sachs, focusing on the Sachs, obviously, because it's Gary. And he thinks that the only thing that's a commodity is Bitcoin. Now, as a commodity, Bitcoin is a commodity. Bitcoin doesn't do shit, but we're going to call it a commodity, which is interesting as a store of value. That does not make it a commodity, but let's at least entertain it and let's at least accept it, because we do want mass acceptance to be happening here. So Gary Gensler, the chairman of the U.S. SEC, stated that the only cryptocurrency he could label as a commodity is Bitcoin. Gensler opened up about cryptocurrencies, their regulation, stablecoins, and just so you know, one of the things that he did imply was that he's coming after everything. The public is hoping for a return, just like when they invest in other financial assets we call securities. Many of the crypto financial assets have the key attributes of a security. Gary Gensler states that many of the tokens are non-compliant. Gensler spoke to Jim Cramer about how crypto is a highly speculative asset. He also added that the CFTC and the SEC have been following. By the way, the CFTC has been getting more responsibility and the SEC less responsibility as the days have turned into weeks, have turned into months, because nobody in Congress respects Gary Gensler at this point. This guy is now a running joke in these communities, and thus they are handing off more and more responsibility to the Crypto Federal Trade Commission, and it is hilarious to see. Now, he spoke about stable coins, saying that there is work to be done to protect the investing public. He also spoke about different tokens in the market, stating that most of them were non-compliant. And of course, listen, Gary Gensler is all he's doing is, look, Gary Gensler's trying to get some money. That's all this is. What he's doing is he's using the government and he's using the power of the federal government in order to shake down cryptocurrencies, in order for to get money out of them, in order to continue funding what he wants to continue doing, which is going after cryptocurrencies using the power of the SEC. So that's why this is happening right now. The reason that he's in charge is because he is a puppet for Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan. He is their puppet, and he is what you would call fiat boy. The only thing that he's worried about is how this affects his fiat currency in the world, and he considers that to be the asset and the most important thing. So that's why I pulled that up. But here's another piece of information. Sam Bankman-Fried. Now, if you don't know who Sam Bankman-Fried is, he is a billionaire who also, by the way, he owns FTX, but he also just loaned $500 million to, I think it was it Binance, or was it Celsius? He gave $500 million to somebody just recently to help them avoid bankruptcy. Maybe it was BlockFi. Oh, BlockFi. He gave it to BlockFi to help them avoid having to file bankruptcy like Celsius. By the way, if you gave your money to Celsius, you are probably not going to see any money at this point. It looks like Celsius is going to liquidate, and you are going to get nothing. So this is not looking good. It's looking like, at best, whatever money you had in Celsius is just going to be wrecked, and you're just going to be out. File a claim with bankruptcy court is about all I can tell you at this point. They haven't confirmed it yet, but Sam Bankman and FTX is reportedly planning to acquire Robinhood. According to Bloomberg, FTX is reportedly thinking of striking a deal to acquire Robinhood. The reports have had a significant impact on the share price of Robinhood as it rose by 17.5%. Sam Bankman-Fried's crypto exchange is exploring different options for the possibility of acquiring the American financial services company. By the way, just to understand here, FTX does not do business in the United States. So on some level, Sam Bankman-Fried needs a way to get into our market, and this is a ready-made way to get into this market. And of course, obviously, he wants to get into the pocket of Citadel, and Citadel, as you know, are the puppets pulling the string for Robinhood. Now, the guys at Robinhood say, "Well, no, we're innocent victims here, and we're just, we're just trying to do the best we can." But they were ordered, and information came out that they were ordered to stop trading by Citadel when the shorts were happening last year. So they are not innocent bystanders in this thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. FTS taking over Robinhood would probably be for the best, although that's going to be another level of consolidation in a market that probably doesn't need a whole lot of consolidation. The more consolidation we have in this market, the worse we are going to be for it. We're going to be told we're better off. We're going to have it implied to us that we're better off. But the more large capital businesses we have in this industry, the more money will be made, by the way. But the more we will lose control of this space to people like this gentleman right here, who might be a good guy. I'm not saying that he's not, might be a good guy, but at the end of the day, here's what matters. He is a large corporation. He will do what's best for a large corporation. He is not one of us. He is not you. He's not me. He's not an investor like we are. And he doesn't think like we do. He will take advantage of situations using the resources that he has at his disposal, not even considering the consequences of what's going on here. If you have any question about that, ask Alex Mashinsky. If you have any question about that, go ask Do Kwon. It's a never-ending cycle of people who are ripping you off. And this guy, I don't know him, so I don't want to say anything bad about him, but he's just next in line. Not that he will, but the potential exists. And he is acquiring one of the largest trading platforms in Robinhood. And that's just getting rid of competition. That's basically buying out competition. That's why we all use Microsoft. So I don't like the move, but you know what? There's nobody out there that's stopping it. So Goldman Sachs, on the other hand, cuts Coinbase to sell due to fall in crypto prices and industry activity. Shares drop. The company faces a difficult choice between shareholder dilution and effective employee compensation, the report said. They slashed its price target to 45 from 70. The downgrade was due to the continued fall in crypto prices and the ensuing fall in industry activity levels. Coinbase shares dropped 5.7% to $59.40 in pre-market trading. In the same report, the Wall Street giant upgraded Robinhood markets to neutral from sell with a $9.50 price target. Robinhood shares rose 2.6 to 8.21 in pre-market trading, and we know that the reason for that was because FTX is now exploring the possibility of taking over Robinhood, which is why we're seeing that happen here, even though they're not explaining that here. Current digital asset levels and trading volume imply further degradation in Coinbase's revenue base, which Goldman sees falling around 61% year on year in 2022. And guess what? You could have avoided that. You could have avoided that by taking on some different tokens and not being a bunch of fucking snobs. It's so simple. It's so simple. Even, look, if you had an ape running Coinbase, they would do the same job as the people who are running Coinbase. Like, isn't that incredible that doing nothing, just think about this, doing nothing would have been the same result as doing anything that they're doing right now. Doing nothing would have been the same result as what they're doing right now. It's just absolutely bonkers. It's crazy. And by doing nothing, I mean, they wouldn't have hired anybody. There wouldn't have been any, listen, the whole thing. They wouldn't have hired anybody. There wouldn't be more employees, so they wouldn't be worried about money as much. They wouldn't be generating as much revenue. It would all just work itself out. They would be better off if they had not done anything. That's their boss. While Coinbase, which is held by Brian Armstrong, recently announced a notable restructuring, which involved laying off 18% of its workforce, the bank says further cuts are needed. Going down the list here, basically what it says is Coinbase is not worth the investment right now, and that you should look for something else. So not a good sign for the crypto industry. By the same token, it's Coinbase, so who really cares? They can't even get Uniswap working on the Coinbase wallet. So, by the way, I'm getting a sense, by the way, that what they're wanting me to do is they're wanting me to move my money into Coinbase from the Coinbase wallet. So I have a feeling that they're trying to make me do that. That's the way it's starting to feel. So make of it what you will. Also, recession fears halt crypto bounce. Analysts see few positive signs to sustain a crypto rally. Now, here's what we're talking about right here. If you look at the mechanics and you look at the technicals of everything that you're looking at in relation to where we are, where we're moving, what the news is like in the market, what how we're trending right now, then you can see that this is moving clearly towards an upside. So we're seeing that it's playing towards the upside. However, when you zoom it back out just a little bit further, then you see here that we're catching this tail right here, and we're really just kind of fighting at 20,000. There's only so much fighting we can do at 20,000 before 20,000 becomes the old 30,000. This is the fight at 30,000. Now we were at 30,000 for a while. What happened? Pumped up to 33, went up about 10%, which we still haven't done here yet. We still haven't had that. Well, actually, you know what? We did have it. So we might be in the shit right now. But when we fell out of support, and you can see here, looks a little bit longer. So the amount of time, by the way, and we're just eyeballing shit right now. So we're about halfway through. We're about halfway through this little movement right here. So we might get another pump of about 10% to 22,000, maybe. It's possible if the market is kind. But once we reach to this point right here, then it's going to probably be decision time again for the market to decide whether it's going to go to the upside or to the downside or any time in between. So we were sitting here on May 10, and it took until June 12, so a little bit over a month. Then we got here, which is June 13, and now we've got about 2 more weeks until we get to July 13. But around July 13, we will have been here for a long period of time. Now we could just continue to consolidate. I'm not saying that there's any magic to that, because when we did the same thing, we did go from 30 to 40, but you can see here that 40,000 struggle. It was a pretty long struggle. Like that was months worth of struggle in that 40,000 channel. So we might be in for a shorter ride here, or we might be in for a pretty long ride. And, this could be the bottom, by the way. That 17 that we hit could be the bottom. Most analysts will tell you that it's probably not, but just keep in mind that it could be, or it could have been, the bottom. And now we're just playing out the sideways action portion of it. But it doesn't really look like that. It looks like we're really kind of looking at an unhealthy market that's bleeding every which way. The best news that we could possibly get, by the way, is going to be that the Ukraine has a ceasefire and has stopped whatever bullshit they're doing. That's about the only thing that you can hope for in the positive right now. Otherwise, we're probably going to be looking at just another miserable month or 5 in the market. I see a lot, by the way. I see a lot of positives. And I know we can look at this price action and we can say that we're not seeing it there, but we are seeing it everywhere. Watcher Guru, let's go over this real quick, because they've been really, really good lately at providing with news. Just in, Binance US CEO Brian Schroeder says that he will continue to buy Bitcoin. Celsius Network denies all allegation that its CEO attempted to flee the country. Now, if you've been sleeping under a rock, you might have missed it, but Alex Mashinsky allegedly, wink, wink, tried to flee the country, and now he's saying, no, he didn't. No, he didn't. He was just checking out the rewards on his plane ticket that he had bought a couple days ago to see how many points he got. He wasn't going to use it. He was just trying to accumulate some points. This is alarming right here. Just in, Tether CTO says there have been coordinated attacks by traditional hedge funds trying to short USDT. I want you to think about that for a second. They are saying that traditional hedge funds are trying to short USDT. They are trying to wreck the USDT. So they are coming after you. Think about that one for just a second. These traditional hedge funds are openly attacking you holding your coins in a stable position. So if you think that anybody in Wall Street is your friend, think again. Just in, Central African Republic president has announced the Bitcoin Hub launch event will take place on July 3rd. It's going to be an official currency over there. FTX is reportedly considering a deal to acquire Robinhood. Here's the story that we were already involved in right there. Elon Musk has surpassed 100 million Twitter followers, and suddenly, since Elon Musk, just in case you guys are not paying attention, Tesla has ordered everybody back to work. Well, it turns out Tesla doesn't have enough computers, doesn't have enough desks, doesn't have enough electricity in their plant for all the people that need to come back to work. So the people can't come back to work. Now, Elon has announced, or it has been announced for Tesla, that they are going through a series of layoffs, and they've been laying off a bunch of recent hires, and that they have put a freeze on hiring. For some reason, a guy who's followed a certain path for 30 years, who suddenly radically veered from that path, is having trouble with his business. Might be a question right now of what he's thinking, what he's doing. Is he thinking clearly? So I think we're in the next couple of days. Maybe there's nothing to that, but maybe there is. So we'll see in the next couple of days whether or not he is just fine, and that this is just all just, an odd thing happening. Because remember, there was a lot of pressure last year over his not paying taxes for 10 years or something like that, because most of his money is in stock options. So and then he had to cash it out because he's required to, because it was a 10-year window, and then he paid an enormous amount of a tax bill. So that part right there was a big news article, created a whole bunch of positive and negative sentiment for and against him. Kind of put him under a microscope even more. Then we found out that he was banging Johnny Depp's girlfriend. There's the elevator pictures to prove it. Now, they weren't banging. They weren't banging. He was just up there to console her butthole while she, nude, by the way, underneath the robe, if you noticed in the video, just needed to have something comfortable in her anus. So, I mean, strictly platonic, right, Elon? So anyway, Elon's banging Johnny Depp's, what did Johnny Depp call her? Bucket? Elon's helping. And he's also back with crimes, or not back with crimes. Or maybe he is back with crimes. Or maybe he's not back with crimes. I mean, who knows? She got another baby, though. We just found that out, too. So when you start to put the package together with Elon Musk, there's a whole lot of crazy shit that just seems to be happening one after the other after the other. So it might be weighing on him just a little bit. So we're going to see very soon, what happens here. But he doesn't seem to be in the right frame of mind for stuff. So we'll see. Moving on down here. Here we go. Goldman Gary. Goldman Gary saying Bitcoin is the only thing. And I'm not a crook. You just call me Goldman Gary, and that's enough. Shiba Inu, by the way, flipped DAI, which is a stable coin, to become the 12th largest cryptocurrency in the world by market value, which seems like it's not really a news article because this kind of shit happens all the time. So it's got to be a slow day for something like that to register. But it did. So here we are talking about it. We've already gone through. Shit, you know what? I think we might be good. Oh, Russia defaulted on its first loans ever, or in a century. Government loans, government-backed loans. Voyager Digital has issued a default notice to 3AC for failure to repay a loan of 15,250 Bitcoin and a $350 million USDC. So Voyager Digital is now coming after Three Arrows, who is now in default, which means that shit's going to start getting weird. Chinese tech giant Tencent forms a dedicated team to advance metaverse development, which is weird since we're in the Chinese market right now and we're looking at an Asian sell-off, even though we're getting good news out of that market. There has to be something negative that's happening in China right now. Let's try China crypto. Russian rubles, paying property Bitcoin, grinds to a halt as cryptocurrencies crash. South China Morning Post is telling you that it's crashed. All right. China's BSN chair calls Bitcoin a Ponzi. Stablecoins fine if they're regulated. Okay, so we're getting a little bit of negative news coming out of China. This is that short-term negative news. People read this. People read through it. A half hour later, they start to pump. So it's been a half hour now. So we're at 12:15, 12. Yeah, we've had our time of sell-off. It looks like this market will probably churn and start to move a little bit towards the upside right now. That's not really a reason for people to be alarmed or nervous or whatever they are. Jesus Christ. All right, so I think that gets us up to speed. Now it's time to go look at our neck of the woods. I didn't see a whole lot of positives happening, by the way, today. Everything I was looking at was either in the green or just barely hanging on in green right now. GOAT 1669, CVC 2927. Everything else is starting to touch into the red. Terra 1875, WAGMI 3096, Bandex 1600, Volt 7628. Volt, the Volt sell off just kind of continues. Once you start to get a little bit of one of the good things about having so many faithful holders on something like Volt is that you're not going to have massive amounts of sell off. But you do always attract the Chad bros who like Chad bro up, man. Like Chad bro, like bro. Like, bro, like I totally made like 3.4 Ethereum on this one. Like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Like, bro, just like, I mean, like you could use, 3.4 ETH. Like my cousin has 3.4 ETH and it's like a lot, you know what I mean? Like, bro. So you see a lot of that happening. And then of course, when the action stagnates for just a day or so, these Chad bros start to do a little bit of sell off because that's just what the Chad bros do. Here we go. 24 ETH sell off, just a 24 ETH sell off just now. So, I mean, that's kind of what you get in this market. You get these guys that just decide that they give up and they're going to go stable their money. Maybe they're seeing this. Maybe they're seeing the red in the market. And they're deciding for themselves, you know what, it's time to stable this. Doesn't mean they won't be back, just means that they're gone for now. And remember, 24 hours ago, we were talking about dropping a zero. We were at 8,900. So this market moves very quickly. And if you don't have positive sentiment, then it just kind of gets stale and people get bored with what's going on. BTFA is at 53.69. BTFA, just think about this. BTFA sold out 10,000 NFTs, and they did that within a couple of days. That is a huge number. And what do they get for it? I don't know, channeling at 43 for a couple of days, and then a move up to a good run up to the 8s, and then sitting back down in the 58 level. Like, So it's a difficult market. There's really a lot of it's a trashy market right now. Hex is down 11% on the day. Hex, why? Because I mean, the market just does not make sense anymore. It just, man, these people are awkward. Okay. That's all I can say. Oh, you know what we need to do? We need to take one more look here because the one saving grace that was lighting up everybody's Christmas tree was on the BNB chain. Luna was having a moment. So let's go see what Luna is doing in their moment, because it's up 17% on the day. 15%, 84.73. So that is down from the high of it dropped to zero for a little while. By the way, no resistance to that. No resistance to it dropping a zero. I think right here, like maybe a little bit. But generally no resistance to speak of. And here we are. But one of the things that people just seem to ignore, I don't know why they're suddenly ignoring it when it was but there were 6.9 trillion tokens in circulation just recently. That was the max total supply. Here we go, 6.9 trillion. And now it's down to 6.5 trillion in the circulating supply. So 400 billion circulating supply have been removed in just the last little while. Market cap is up to 5 billion or 556 million. What we're looking at right here, and by the way, there are multiple different companies that are coming live in the next, I think it's 2 weeks. In the next 2 weeks with some dApps to start recreating and reworking this ecosystem to make it go while the burns are being worked on. But, if you burned half of it right now, then your product value would double, and we would be at 3 zeros, 1698, 16958, whatever it is. So, you have some opportunity to pick up some ground, and that would leave it at the 555 million market cap that it's at right now. But if it were to get to a $5 billion market cap, to get to that level would be about a 10x from where it is right now. And that right there would only give us to this 3 0. So that significant amount of burn still has to happen, and we have to see it. Now, if 400 billion tokens disappeared in the last, I haven't looked at this in 2 weeks, to be fair. Okay, so while I'm saying this, I'm not sure exactly when they were removed, but it was 6.9 trillion, now it's 6.5 trillion. So if that amount was removed and it only took a short period of time, then that is significant. And 2 weeks from now, if we look at this and we see 6 trillion, and then 2 weeks later we see 5.5 trillion, and 2 weeks later, in a couple months we're going to be down to a 10 billion market supply. And when that happens, when we see this thing down to a 25% of the market supply, then this would be 3 zeros, 3,200 or 3,300. These two right here numbers would be 33. Right, so we'd have 3 zeros, 33, still be the 555 million market cap. So if we 10x'd, then that would be 0.0033 cents. So now from where we are right now, you'd be talking about 100, and you'd be talking about 150x from where it is right now. So there's a significant chance that these guys are going to get their shit together in some way fairly rapidly to make something happen. So if you still have some, like I do, by the way, my mama didn't raise no bitch. I still have 10 million Luna Classic, just in case it does something. So if it goes 10x from here, we'll have $8,400 that we'll throw at Ethereum. If it goes 150x, I don't know what the fuck we're gonna do with that. You know what? Yeah, I do. We would start 2 nodes because I think running 2 nodes on the new Ethereum POS would be right up my alley. So, yeah, that's probably what we do. All right, now that that is out of the way, let's get back over here. Now let's dig into chat because we are way, way, way behind on chat right now. What is going on, everybody? I'm going to start at the beginning. Forsaken, what's going on? Cajun, what's going on? Aaron, what is happening, man? Phenomenal, what's happening? Crypto Surfer in the house. Elysier in the house. Mom of 2, how you doing? Kevin, what's going on? Space Chick in the house. What's going on, lady? Jamal Alexander in the house. Ellis, what is happening? April, how you doing? Pat Murphy, what's going on? Ooh, don't get me started on that, man. What's going on, DNA? I think I got everybody. Volt Inu Army, what is going on? Justin, Justin, what's happening, man? Maddie B, what is going on? Yeah, anybody who has USDT, man, get nervous, get real nervous. Swackhammer, what's going on? Captain's Channel, what's going on? Crypto Crush, how you doing tonight? I think I got Altcoin Holder. What's happening? Bobby, what is up, man? BTFA Army is in the house. Volt Army in the house. Dave D, what's going on, my man? And BP, what's happening? West Coast Crypto News. Okay, so now we are caught up. Thoughts on UFO and KDA? If there's nothing new on UFO, then it's one of the most kick-ass games. I saw a preview of this game the other day, and I love this game. Now, I didn't know that there was a dark metaverse, but yeah, this right here, this was kick-ass. All right. So it's my understanding that you're able to zoom in and out on it using your scroll wheel, and that you're able to move around using your arrow and your WAS key in order to do that. And if you guys remember, we were doing that with Helsing the other day. These graphics look a little bit tighter than what we saw in Helsing. We saw 32-bit graphics on Helsing, which I, by the way, I love those to death. But we saw these seem to be a little bit more advanced. I don't know if there's any physics on them. I don't know that that's the case, but we can see some shadow rendering. So we know that this is a pretty good, again, this is the first game in their ecosystem. So I was pretty happy with that. And I'm not sure what this dark metaverse is. I think I really, I don't really need them to tell me either. Like, I really need to see it start to happen. Like, what is it going to look like when it comes? But they've got a sense of style. I mean, that's pretty stylish, right? They've got a sense of style. Everything that they do seems to be of a decent quality. So I don't think you go wrong with UFO, especially because you have to consider here, you're talking about something with a market cap right now, $31 million. And that is the possibilities are endless that you could do something big time with that, man. That's something big. Hey, man, I appreciate the $20 bomb. Buying meta and gaming plays during these times. Thank you for all you do for BTFA. Hey, man, you might want to look into Starlink as well. I haven't released any video on it yet. I haven't looked at what's going on with putting together the content, but let me see if I got a video from Starlink from the other day. They sent me a whole bunch of details. And I did go through the walkthrough, by the way. I guess I should say that I went through the walkthrough with them on the game, but none of the stuff was official. So let me see if I got. All right, let me see here if I can pop this up, and I need to take a stroll down here. All right, so full disclosure here. This is Shahid Ahmad is the guy who is running this project in Starlink here. And you can see right here, these are the actual characters in Starlink. And this is for Pride Month, of course. That's why they have different colored suits on. But let's get down here and start looking. There should have been they may have just done screenshots on this, but yeah, this is what your house in this looks like. This is called a living module, and your character, by the way, that's different. You design your character, etc., with whatever you want to wear. But look at the art. This is with RTX turned on. Look at the ray tracing effects that you can see all over the floor. This is like an impressive sort of game. So West Coast, if you're looking for something, this is like a really good sort of play. Now this right here look, see right here, this is the red spider. Looks like Spider-Man on one side of the top, but that's a ship for you to travel the galaxy in. And a lot of your traveling is done with fight, which includes fighting. I'll put that on mute. This is what it looks like. This is a whole bunch of people sitting in the Starcade right now. The Starcade, by the way, is the place. This is the place where it's like the hangout spot to do stuff. This is okay. So this is the craziest part right here. Okay. You see what you can do is you can park your ship around a planet on this. So you can pick a planet. Now I'm not sure exactly how, by the way, so you'll have to fact check me on that. But you'll post like this guy's living quarters right now, and it's over Jupiter, and it's using it's using our solar system. So this is Jupiter, or I mean Saturn. But when you look out, the rings are actually moving. The planet is actually moving. You can see everything out here is not just parked in space. Like all of this stuff is like living, breathing, and moving around. Like it's really crazy because you can just stare out the window and you can see this stuff all just kind of going around and stuff like that, which is what I was kind of looking for, thinking like maybe there would be some kind of little video that would show that. But they set the demo. The demo is outside of Saturn, of course. Here's another ship, by the way. This is the red S craft. And as you can see here down at the bottom, that was Venus that you're floating around there. Here's another ship. Oh, matter of fact, here's a list of all kinds of different ships. You can see these all include a living module inside. So you can like park your ship and you can start running around in your ship and decorate your ship. Let's move down here just a little bit more. This is, by the way, there's a story that goes along with this. So if you go to their website, then you can start catching up on the story. And it is about just a random pilot in their universe. Oh, and that's an NFT there, by the way. It looks like a Sega Genesis. Run that again. Run that back. See how it looks like a Sega Genesis game? And then there's the Pixel Knots collection, which I have. Let's see. And by the way, this is very old. I bought this a long time ago. But I have. Boom. All right. So I've got Starlink Pixel Knot number 2452. And the floor difference, they're offering it's like 78 or something like that. Like mine's very common, by the way. So I don't think that mine's unique in any way. I don't know what they're doing about any of this stuff. I don't know what this is going to do when it comes game time. So I have no idea yet. So I'm just going to kind of hold on to it. But people have been accumulating a lot of them lately. So, oh, here's a dance routine inside the game. And they don't have a burn or anything like that. In case anybody's wondering, like this is not a burn type game. Like they're not. They don't use any trickery or machinations to try to, um, to try to lure you in. They haven't really done a whole lot. But here's combat right here. You can see it's called Warp Nexus. By the way, the game system is called Warp Nexus. And this is what it looks like. Now, some of this has been this is the original artwork. So some of this artwork's been kind of dumbed down and colorized a little bit to make it a little more fun for younger people. But here, this is what combat looks like in the game. So as you can see, like that is a kick-ass sort of game. So just in case anybody's looking for a game, and you're looking for something, then that one is kind of a cool game. Undead Blocks is also a nice game. That's going to include a skin for Volt Inu for anybody who is looking for. It's more like a shooter game. You can see right here. How far back do I have to go to get like a view of the game? Man, they should be pinning. Like everybody should be just pinning this shit up at the top. There you go. That's somebody shooting a zombie. And the demo is them running through like a street area. Now I'm tired of scrolling. Oh well. They won today. All right, let's go back over here and check the market. Market was in tank mode. Let's see if it's still tanking. 20,594. Market is still correcting down to the downside. So, Helsing game is actually pretty. It's actually pretty cool looking. I mean, like you have to be somebody who likes 32-bit games, and I like 32-bit games. So I'm pretty excited about Helsing. I got into it and I played for about a half hour on one of my streams, and it was just like not a PvP zone, but it was just a nonstop fighting zone where you fight nonstop, and it's just round after round after round, and it was pretty fun. I mean, it's basically like a WASD format game where your mouse you're pointing in the direction that you're shooting, and then I think you use like the space bar or your space bar maybe to swap between gun types, and then like left and right. Left click is to hold down like rapid fire, and then right click is for special shots. So it's pretty easy. Like once you get started and once you start messing with it, I kept wondering why I wasn't dying. By the way, and I'm like, should I be dead by now? Because like the rounds kept coming, and I kept doing a good job, and I was like, I wonder why I'm doing this. And son of a bitch, like it just turns out, and like I said, I went in there and I'm like, is it on easy mode or something? They were like, no, you're just good at it. It's just and it gets progressively more difficult every round. So I just happened to be in my wheelhouse of games. So but yeah, I had a lot of fun. Like, when these things start to release and when you start to have opportunities, and I hope, I think you're going to need a marketing budget. These games are going to need marketing budgets, but if they have marketing budgets and they have people who are willing to play, then the metaverse does not need crypto. crypto needs the metaverse. So it's entirely possible that we see some of these games just get on some really, really, really good runs that have, yeah. Kronos, look, Kronos is not dead, but Kronos is not, I mean, if you go back and you look, Kronos is new. So, I mean, you've got to think that there's no such thing as, here, let's go back here. Kronos. Boom. Crypto.com rebranded as Kronos, but all time. Here we go. (12/21/18) is when it launched. So, it's less than 4 years old, and it had. You got to think about it. Think about it right here. It was for a penny, and then it ran, then it ran, then it ran, and it ran, and it ran, and ran, and think about all the money people made off of this, right? All the way up here, and now it's back down here, and even the people that got in early are still up like a legitimately good amount of money on this thing. So I think it's, I think it's gonna be fine. I think it's just like this market has just not been kind to it. Like it got on this run, and it really had a nice run, but it was just it wasn't the time. It wasn't the time for the market. So here it is, just kind of toiling away in the top 25 of all cryptos with a $3 billion market cap. The fact that it's crypto.com means that it should have a 50 billion market cap at least, maybe 150 billion, just because of the name alone. But Ethereum is going to have to be a $500 billion market cap for that to happen. So Ethereum is going to have to go 4x. But if Ethereum goes 4x, then we're going to see then we're going to see that end up going like 50x. You know what I mean? Like it's just silly where it's sitting. It will take off. Like it will have its moment. It's not going to have its look. This is one of those that just will take off one day, and it will take off just because it's time and the market has turned bullish, and it will just go, and lives will just be different. Everybody has $1,000 in it right now is going to have 6 figures. You know what I mean? Like it's just going to do that. By the way, you should have $1,000 at least in crypto.com if you don't already, just because it will 100x from where it is right now. Did I say 100x? God damn it, that's not the number. It would be 30 billion. That would be 10x. It would be 300 billion. 50x. It's going to 50x from where it is right now. That's probably too much. I put a little bit too much pepper on that one. But, it's going to have a big, big run. It's going to have a big run. At this point, the only thing that we can do, the only thing that we can do is be patient, because nothing that we do is going to do anything but screw things up. Put your money, nestle it. It primarily, by the way, like most of us are in meme coins in some way, but meme coins is not the place to do anything right now. The place to do something right now, the place to put it is in these altcoins. That's where you put your money right now, because and it doesn't matter what altcoin. I don't think. It does, but Polkadot has an $8 billion market cap. It's going to have $80 billion market cap. It's going 10x. So if you have 10 grand into that, you're going to make 100 grand. You know what I mean? Like there's just a lot of these tokens out here that are just going to go crazy. Avalanche has just been a solid and consistent contender the entire time. Now it was at $18 right now. Is it $18.88? So it's $19 a share, right? So its all-time high is 134. So we're talking about 8x from where it is right now. Now, where is it? 5 billion market cap. So it's 8x from there. So it had a $40 billion market cap. Avalanche had a $40 billion market cap. Now on a bull run, it would have double that. So, I mean, just think about these numbers. Like, it doesn't matter what you put your money in, as long as it's a good, solid project right now. It doesn't matter where it is. You know, look, the way I would see it is this: if you have 10 grand, I would put, um, five. If you had, well, let me rephrase that. If you had 10 grand right now, I wouldn't put in anything. But I'd be sitting on the sidelines waiting for some more dip. And then I would, at this point, I would put 25% into Ethereum. I would put 25% into BNB. Then I would spread like 1,000. You have 1,000s, right? Then I would put 1,000 into Polkadot, 1,000 into Solana, 1,000 into Avalanche, 1,000 into Polygon, and 1,000 into Crypto.com. Ta-da! I've just taken $10,000. I've just spread it around in the best way that I possibly can, and all of those things are going to take off at some point. And then what I would do is when I got like 3 or 4 or 5x, I would take my $1,000 out off of each one of them and then just put it into something else further down the chain. You know what I mean? Like, just find something else that hasn't taken off yet down the line and throw it in there, and then just keep doing the same thing, and then just diversify and just keep diversifying and keep diversifying. And when you make big gains, and when you get one of those 50x's or 60x's or something like that, put that shit in Bitcoin and profit. All right, guys, that is my time. We are, Phantom right now is a perfect, I think this is kind of a perfect buy. You got until mid-July. Mid-July is when I think Phantom's going to start making a run, because Phantom's going to go to $3 again. So, you know, if you have, I don't know where it is right now, but I mean, listen, look, I would not call you a fool if today, well, actually, I would if you did it today, because it's going down some more. But Phantom, remember, Phantom is a blockchain that's all about spooky shit. It's at 27 cents right now. It was at $3 around this time last year, around Halloween. And then it was up to, in January, it was up to $3.29. So that's like 12x, about 12x from where it is right now. So, and it's got more dip to it. So I would wait just a little bit longer, give it just a little bit more dip, and then just let it ride, because even if it doesn't have a parabolic sort of crazy move, it's still Phantom, and we're still heading into Halloween. It's still going to have this nice run through September and October, and start moving upwards. Like, we're going to feel it right around that time. So there's just going to be some more excitement about it. So, like, just, you know, pay attention to some of those things. Oh, I think it will. I think inflation. Look, we're gonna everybody who is investing is looking for a reason to invest. Nobody wants to be sitting on the sidelines. Nobody's happy about that, but they also want to be safe. And right now, bonds are the safest investment. And then holding your money at this point, you know, is going to be the second, and then the third is going to be the stock market. So that's the place that the money's going to come out of the last, which is why you're seeing that capitulation here a lot heavier than you're seeing it there. But you know, that money's going to start flowing back this way, because people can only sit on the sidelines for so long. They want that money, and if they see people doing shit like accumulating 2,554 Bitcoin, and they see all this kind of stuff. Thank you for the $5 bomb, Jeff. I appreciate you, man. But if they see people accumulating 2,554 Bitcoin, they see people accumulating Bitcoin, accumulating Ethereum. If they see all these good things happening and they're not in on it, they're going to want to be in on it. So they're going to start dumping whatever it is that they have in order to create some FOMO, create a little bit of panic, get some people nervous. They're going to start to sell off. They're going to get some panic sells, and they're going to nestle themselves back in. And then this thing's going to start taking off. Might take a while for it to get, you know, it might need a big running start. But once we find our bottom, once you know where the bottom is, then we're going to start moving sideways from that bottom, which I think is about 13,000 Bitcoin and about 800 to 700 ETH. Once we find the bottom, we're going to trend sideways for a little while. We're going to be frustrated by it. And then all of a sudden, we're going to start seeing some movement. And remember, these guys are going for 3.5 trillion market cap or a 4 trillion market cap this time. So when we get that low number, then we're going to see just some insane sort of runs in this market. And meme coins are always last. So don't forget that when you're investing. You want to have your little nest egg in there because something like, maybe Volt will go crazy, or maybe BTFA will go crazy, or maybe Dogelon will go crazy. One of those might go crazy, maybe. But what's going to go crazy first is the altcoins. And then when the altcoins are finished, well, Bitcoin's going to Bitcoin first, then Ethereum, then the altcoins, then the meme coins. That's just the way that it works. So once everybody's fat off of all that money, once everybody's fat from making profit on Bitcoin and stuff like that, that's when they start to go into risky business. So we are that risky business. So let's just see what happens. Guys, it's not financial advice. My name's Bleaves. I'm always right, and I will see you guys for breakfast in the morning.